Good morning. Good morning, everyone. So, I appreciate your being here today. And we'll talk a little bit, just review a little bit. We've been covering this Vimalakirti Sutra. And some question has come up about its relevance. And I can understand that. I mean, a typical headline this week would have been record COVID deaths in the US as rioters storm the Capitol. So in the midst of all this, why are we spending time thinking about this fantastic tale that the Vimalakirti Sutra is? This fable, really, incorporating magical events and imaginary figures. So why spend our time this way? Well, oddly enough, thinking about that brought me back to my 5th grade class in Alexandria, Virginia. And one of the projects as 5th graders was to construct a model fallout shelter. So this was a standard part of the curriculum at that time to incorporate civil defense education in the elementary grades. And so I worked on this project and used, I thought it was clever, I used sugar cubes as cinder blocks and constructed a little fallout shelter, and it had various rooms in it, and it had little small items that were to represent food, because you were supposed to make also a list of what you would have in your fallout shelter to sustain you. So, but that little project got me to thinking, a series of thoughts really over the course of years. But so what if the fallout shelter doesn't work? What if you just, your whole family dies in there? What if it does work? How long do you stay in there? And if you come out, then what if everyone else is dead? Then what do you do? And as the mind goes, you start extending thoughts and you think, well, of course, everyone is going to die at some point. And in fact, it would be very odd if the human species is the only species that proves to be eternal, that there is not at some point a last human being. Certainly dinosaurs roamed the earth for many thousands of years, I guess, and are no more. So why should we be so special? And when the mind moves in that direction, one also begins to wonder, well, what is our purpose here? What are we trying to accomplish? How am I to live? And what will be a guide? What can I trust? And along those lines, how can one live a life of grace and dignity under these circumstances, especially amidst adversity? In a sense, what is our North Star? Now for Buddhists, the North Star is the triple treasure. The Buddha, as an example, the Dharma, his teachings, instruction, inspiration, and the Sangha, the supportive community. So that being our North Star, how do we keep that in mind? How do we keep the Buddha in mind? And that's where these thousands of years old teachings can be helpful in various ways. Because the objects that surround us now, the electronics, the vehicles, the various objects that occupy our lives have changed a lot, of course, in that interval of time. Much more now is made out of plastic and not wood or iron. But nonetheless, the human situation is very much the same. As the Buddha said, praise and blame, fame and shame, gain and loss, pleasure and sorrow, all come and go like the wind. And that remains the case these 2,000 years later. Now, the form of the Vimalakirti Sutra is a fantastic tale. And I guess the risk of that is that it's viewed as just a fantastic tale. The teachings embedded in Vimalakirti's speeches are very central to the Buddha's message. The fantastic elements, I think, are to help recruit the imagination, to help us, as the saying goes, think outside the box, to free the mind, to help us not be so stuck on concepts. But these teachings are about very familiar Buddhist concepts: impermanence, emptiness, skillful means, and very familiar Buddhist virtues: the Brahma-vihara, the kindness, compassion, sympathetic joy, equanimity, the 6 paramitas: generosity, morality, patience, energy, contemplation, and wisdom. referred to again and again by Vimalakirti. But his mode of expression is poetic, incorporating unfamiliar images. And again, I think this has a purpose. I'll just read a small section. This is a section that we skipped over previously. He's talking to someone, a follower of the Buddha, who is trying to give a Dharma talk. And in a sense, he's telling him, you're really dumbing this down too much. Vimalakirti says, the Dharma knows nothing of living beings because it is removed from the defilement of such concepts as living beings. The Dharma knows nothing of I because it is removed from the defilement of such concepts as I. It knows nothing of a lifespan because it knows nothing of birth and death. It knows nothing of individuality because it is cut off from considerations of past or future lives. The Dharma is forever still and serene because it has wiped out all characteristics. The Dharma is without characteristics. It is without anything that can be perceived. The Dharma is without names or appellations because it is cut off from all language. The Dharma is without any expounding because it is removed from broad or minute contemplation by the mind. The Dharma is without form or characteristics because it is as though vacant and empty. The Dharma is not the subject of frivolous theories because in the end it is empty. The Dharma is without the concept of mine because it is removed from all such concepts of personal possession. The Dharma is without distinctions because it is apart from all types of consciousness. The Dharma has nothing in it that can compare to compare because there is no entity that can be set beside it. The Dharma is not affected by causes because it does not exist in a conditioned realm. The Dharma is identical with the Dharma nature because it enters into all phenomena. The Dharma conforms with what is truly so because there is nothing else to conform to. The Dharma abides in the locus of reality, being unaffected by anything on the periphery. The Dharma is without motion or wavering, never depending on the six sense objects. The Dharma is without coming or going, since it never abides anywhere to begin with. The Dharma accords with emptiness, following what is formless, responds to what is actionless. The Dharma is separate from beautiful or ugly. The Dharma knows no increase or diminution. The Dharma knows no birth or extinction. The Dharma knows no destination. The Dharma transcends eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind. The Dharma knows no high or low. The Dharma constantly abides without moving. The Dharma is separate from all meditational practices. So again, I think Vimalakirti is, he functions as kind of a trickster, just calling into question constantly individuals who think they know what they're talking about, who think they have it. Another section I'll read just one other section that we did refer to, incorporating imagery to, I think, again, expand the way we look at things. When you enter a village, he says, think of it as an empty village. The forms you see there should appear as they would to a blind man. The sounds you hear should be mere echoes. The aromas you inhale should be so much thin air. The flavors you taste should be undifferentiated. Accept all sensations in accordance with the enlightenment of wisdom and understand that all phenomena are no more than phantom forms. They have no intrinsic nature, nor do they take any other nature. So I think Vimalakirti again and again encourages us to view all phenomena as process, to drop our tendency to solidify things, to fix them in place. And in various ways, speaking with various characters in this tale, he tries to point people toward the North Star, to keep us oriented. No matter what is going on, and especially during times of darkness. So the Vimalakirti Sutra has always been sort of out there on the periphery. It was composed probably around 100 CE or a little before, someplace in northern India, in Sanskrit. Distributed widely after being translated throughout China and Tibet and in Japan. In the 6th century Japan, there was a commentary written about the Vimalakirti Sutra by one of the regent princes there that is still extant. And in Chan centers and in Zen centers in Japan, the abbot's quarters are still referred to as hojo, which means 10-foot square or 10 foot, because the room, the sick room that Vimalakirti lived in, abided in during his illness, was, according to the sutra, 10 foot by 10 foot in size. So this is a sutra that has sort of been out there in the periphery for centuries and centuries. It's widely loved in Asia. What does it do for us here? And how do we incorporate it with the rest of our lives? What's going on? So I don't know if that helps, but I would be interested in hearing thoughts about how we incorporate this with what's going on, about the relevance of such study, whether these images and tales resonate or whether they don't. They're not going to affect everyone the same, I know that. But I'd be interested in your thoughts. And I think today we'll try not doing breakouts, but just see if there are any comments for the group as a whole, unless there is a clamor for breakout groups. We'll go back to breakout groups again, but I thought we'd just sort of switch back and forth from time to time. because I think no matter what you have to say, I'm sure others will be interested. So I'll stop there. Thank you so much for listening.